And we are back. Doing Amanda.
I'm doing so great. Happy Friday. We're here. We made it. It's almost Dick's.
We are here. We talked the other night about the top 20 jam bands because I found this list on a classic rock website. And they were saying like Quicksilver Messenger Service, Traffic. And I was like, they're not jam bands for a variety of reasons. There's a post on Volume about it. But basically the gist is it's an American phenomenon that started in the early 90s. The term, that's when it existed.
Mhm.
So we're not throwing the Grateful Dead in there or Quicksilver Messenger Service or anything.
Yeah.
Or Captain Beefheart. He had Captain Beefheart on
Oh, really? I mean, I think having roots in a scene or something like that makes sense to me. But at its core, yes. Right.
There are bands that jam and there are jam bands. But
Exactly.
a lot of people were like, I put Goose on there. Did you go to the show?
I did not. I'm considering Red Rocks on Tuesday.
No, I meant the one in Boulder.
No, I wasn't there. I think they were scanning to see how old you were. Right. I wouldn't have made it. They're like, what's this up here? No, not happening.
I haven't heard, like, if do you know if the fraternity paid to have them play, or they knew somebody, or they were fraternity brothers? Because I could see them being college boys who ended up being fraternity brothers.
So I saw something online so it was a free backyard party, and apparently I think it was a collaboration with a local promoter called Mojo Colorado.
Okay.
Who I've heard of and know a little bit about. And originally, the surprise part was that it was going to feature and did a band called Sunkissed, their local band. They're great. The surprise, of course, was afterward, after Sunkissed finished their set, then Goose pops on. Yeah.
Right. I mean, how much does that cost? I paid $5,000 to do Radiator shows back in 2003, 2004, and 2005. I did 3 of them. They were $5,000 back then. They were playing 200-seat clubs. I mean, did someone have to come up with $50K or something? Did someone's parents be like, someone who was a bad dad trying to make themselves feel better?
I mean, this is my guess, and maybe this is the unjaded side of me that comes out every once a month, or like Groundhog Day, right. It is possible for the sheer chaos and the moment that they maybe donated that time for this.
Right. Well, Rick said that he wished he could play the small clubs again.
Yeah.
I saw one of the last American bar gigs at the 930 Club on Mardi Gras years ago.
That's amazing. And I've seen some smaller, things. Speaking of Goose, I remember when they did the Fox show after playing First Bank for, I don't know if that was their first or second Goose Miss years back now. And even that was a fun time just because you knew that there were only a certain amount of people that were getting in there. Right. I saw the Beastie Boys at a really small club in Asheville, North Carolina, under 1,000 people.
Right.
And that was in like 2009-ish. Right. When you're in those places, even if it's a band that isn't your absolute favorite, there is something really fun about, like, this shouldn't be happening right now. Mm-hmm. Right. Here's what I'm curious about though the most, and this is just my brain. So at one point I saw a video from that surprise pop-up show in Boulder where a police officer super awkwardly steps onto the stage right by Rick, and Rick kind of like put his finger
like, 1 minute,
or something. And I was like, that was the part where I was like, wait, is that part set up? But I think it was legit. I mean, I really don't know.
He was in the moment. He's like, let me just finish. This is Animal. This is our last song. We're closing out the set with it, or whatever it was, Thatch, whatever they were doing. Yeah. They repeated Thatch last night again. 2 nights in a row you got a Thatch.
So, it's fun. It harkens back to there's several infamous RV sets for High Sierra, New Master Sounds, Railroad Earth, that people talk about decades later. I saw some of those myself. And even at the time, you're seeing something that's really different and unique and in that case, those were really part of a bigger event. This was something totally aside from their other shows.
Right. I'm kicking myself for not putting lettuce on there now, the more that I think about it. If everybody doesn't know, Amanda and I are working on a book called When the Road Went Silent. We've interviewed 400 musicians, industry people over the years. And I was going through a Nigel Hall interview the other day, and I mentioned his album Spiritual, which I busted back out because I was like, it's such a fantastic album. But he went into this whole thing about how he was doing drugs and alcohol, and the day it was released, he went into rehab. And I was like, my God, this is just, it's riveting listening to this, you know?
It is. It is 100%. And it's amazing that people can be so open, right, about asking them all kinds of things when it's a real conversation. And Kevin, this has been so much fun for me because
reliving all that. Yeah.
Now I'm going back and I'm like, look what we've done. This is really fun, and I'm so grateful for it. And I'm having the best time.
It's amazing that we did. We were doing 8 interviews a week at one point.
There was a lot, and you were keeping that train moving
every day. We release some every day for every year. But the funniest thing is he starts to go into bitching about interviews and how people never want to talk about what he talks about, because he wanted to talk about like his album Spiritual. That's what he wants to
right, exactly.
About. And yeah, it was just funny. I was like,
that's why you're here. He is a really, really incredible human in every way.
He's talked to us twice. He is such a good guy. I bet he'd come back on again.
I bet he would. And I still can't. Can I just tell a funny background story about the first time that we interviewed him? So we had it all set up. We had the time and the day. Everything was good all through email. And we always would put our phone numbers there in case there was an issue technical wise. So I'm running around working, getting stuff ready before that interview. And then I get this phone call from a number I don't recognize. And I just couldn't answer at the moment. It was Nigel at the optometrist. And he's like, hey, and he's talking to me like we've known each other forever. And he's like, I'm going to be maybe a couple minutes late, but don't worry, I got it. They're not doing anything crazy, right? And he's like, okay, see you later. And I'm just like, did that just happen?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, man. Good guy. Mm-hmm. Led is fantastic. They're doing big stuff over on Volume. Hopefully we get to be included in some of that. But the reason I brought up the 20 jam bands is I didn't put Billy on there. I did put Railroad Earth, though. They were like 17.
Oh, sweet, man.
Yeah, they've been around so long. Come on. And they represent a very specific thing.
They absolutely do.
In the jam band sphere. But Billy Strings put out an album yesterday. Got some heartbreakers on it, a lot about his mother. Today he announced a bunch of 2027 dates.
I know.
We're already getting we're only 6 months out. Got to get into it. So they are, hold on, what was it? It was Duluth, the Ryman, North Carolina, Asheville, February 4th through 9th with a day off on the 7th. So a 4-night run in Asheville. Duluth for 2 shows, and then we're getting Music City's Bridgestone Arena in Nashville for 2 shows, and then the Ryman.
Ryman, special place.
That is.
That is a cool spot.
I saw, what did I see there? It was nobody special. I think Rosanna Cash was like the biggest name.
Okay.
Out of all of them.
Yeah.
But she was, it was just fantastic sitting there. You got to do it if you ever go to Nashville.
Yeah. I completely agree. And, you know, with the Billy thing, and I guess just generally speaking, and we've talked about this before, there's a nuance and it's very subjective thinking about improvisation and then jamming. Right. So those two things move in the same circles and worlds a lot, but in my mind, they are not exactly the same. And that's getting really deep into the weeds on stuff like that. So, you know, sometimes it really is just personal opinion for an artist like Billy Strings, I think. Right.
I love that. I didn't realize he was playing down there. Yes, exactly. This, a lot of consternation from some camps about him being on this Theo Von guy's podcast. I know nothing about the guy, but apparently he's not a cool dude.
I didn't know who that was. I guess he's a comedian.
Right.
Also, right. Yeah, I'm just learning kind of.
He thinks he's funny. He's he's like George. What's his name? I'll think of his name.
Not Costanza.
No. The dude. The dude. I don't know. I'll think of his name. Anyway, I always make fun of the guy and I can't remember it now. Green Sky had Billy Strings, Vince Herman, and Mark Lavengood come out and sit in with him.
Oh yeah.
We like that.
Yeah, and with Daniel, the Daniel show at the Ryman, I got to see Daniel open for Green Sky 2 nights at the Ryman a bunch of years ago, and it was an interesting thing because of just the sound that both those bands bring is very different, right? And so the Donato kind of energy field, force field, especially when they get into the cosmic stuff. They do a killer opener set, jam, like festival set. To see them for a whole show now at the Ryman headlining makes me super happy because it took just maybe 3 years or so, not even maybe, for them to get to that point.
Right. I talked to Kellen Alsobrook from Fruition the other day. He did not mention this. Like, I talked to him like 2 weeks ago, but they posted something on Instagram today. Today we release our 8th and final album, Something More. Yes, you read that right. After 18 years together and with the crowning achievement of a record we are incredibly proud of, following our upcoming tour, we are stepping away from Fruition as we've known it.
I know.
I'm like, why didn't you tell me, man? I could have broke some news. What's up?
Yeah, I know. That was just recently, right? Yeah, I know. That's, I guess I think about it sometimes when I zoom back, and we're in a place right now where there are so many bands in this scene that have been together for 15, 20, 25 years or somewhere in the middle of all that. And I wonder if we're just going to naturally start seeing more of a consistent stream of announcements like that. I don't know. Fruition's great. Yeah, they've been around for such a long time. I can't wait to hear that album though. I haven't heard much about it. But yeah, modern touring, maybe time to think about it. But they are going to have a final run of dates through the fall.
Yes.
Into January.
So you can go see them, and I would suggest going and see them. They're fantastic. Kellen does the solo stuff. He did ask me about putting a link to his solo page in the description of the interview. So maybe he knew. I get, you had to know. You have to have a team meeting long before, because obviously you're booking shows 6-12 months out.
Yep.
So I got breaking news here. Trey Anastasio, Dave Matthews, and Chris Stapleton are playing the TJ Martle Foundation Gala that honors it will honor Red Light Management founder Corin Capshaw. Dave and Trey obviously are part of Red Line Management's stable of artists. It's going to be at Cipriani's. Yes, thank you.
That's like one of those kind of old school kind of places. It's been around
42nd Street, man. Come on. I hope they bust out 42nd Street. That would be so cool.
Right.
Maybe Trey, Trey was a theater kid. He could do a dance. He could do a little Buffalo shuffle for us.
And he helps us all the time to let that part of ourselves shine, right? Just by being them. Yeah, that's a cool venue. I have been there long time ago, but yeah, pretty exclusive, like high profile kind of place. So it's going to be pretty rad.
Right.
Something different.
So the Martell Foundation's thing is they bring together music industry leaders, money, philanthropists, money, and cancer researchers to support high impact cancer research. So going for skin cancer, melanoma, things like that. Started in 1975, it's already raised $300 million for research at leading hospitals. If only the U.S. government dumped that kind of money into research.
If only. I know.
If only.
Yeah. Yeah.
David Byrne, he don't stop, man. He is not going to give up. He's just going to keep going, and he's making a movie. Who is the Sky? So, I mean, he's done this before, obviously. One of the most famous rock and roll concert films ever. It's not making sense. So, they did it in 70 millimeter. It was filmed over multiple nights in Byrne's hometown of Baltimore.
I know. Don't you love that? That's a nice claim to fame right there.
No release date yet. So we had two people pass. We talked about Dolly the other night. T and I did, but I know that you're a huge fan. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, there's so much that you could say, and I know that a lot of people are putting out, their own feelings about it. I guess I would just say that what has always stuck with me, just as the years have gone on, is the ability to be such a powerful force in terms of the music industry, financially, socially, right? And still retain your humanness. I don't know a lot of people that were able to do what she did and still be a person that you could look at and somehow still feel like, oh, I can relate to this person, even though you may not have hardly anything in common. So that's a very special human being.
It's so easy to lose that.
It is so easy to lose that. But, the things that she didn't do, I think also, as I'm learning, over the years have learned more, there were things that she would just not talk about, right? There were questions she would not answer. She managed to have a private life somehow. I mean, she was married for so long, right? That was kind of a separate thing she decided real early on. So I just have a lot of respect for people that can figure out how to maintain who they are, even with that global power, right? And the literacy stuff. I was a language arts teacher for a long time, so of course.
Not forget your roots. And if you don't know, she grew up one of 9 or 12 children in a one-room cabin in Tennessee. You can see a replica of the cabin at Dollywood. Apparently, I got to go to Dollywood now.
I know.
I've driven by it before, and I didn't go.
Yeah, these kind of people who, it almost just seemed like she was just always here, right? Like, was there ever a time when she wasn't her? Right. So yeah, that's, I'm glad to see the love, but you know what? She was someone who was so actively beloved when she was here. And that to me says a lot too.
Yeah. And she did so much for so many people. It shows you can be a good person. That 100%. There's something to be said for virtue and morals. And anyway, her manager confirmed that there is a biopic and docuseries are in the works. I have biopic issues because basically they're hour-and-a-half long Amazon commercials. Because if you watch it on Prime, there'll be links to buy the album while you're watching it. But
is that true?
Yes. This is what I've been told. I canceled my Amazon account years ago.
Let me turn on my glasses so I can just click.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what they want. You're going to be at the store and you'll just push a button, an imaginary thing in front of you and buy stuff and Walmart will be screwed. And they deserve to be screwed. But apparently Dolly gave her seal of approval on this stuff before she died. When I first read it, I was like, God, right away they're jumping on this. But he said Dolly worked up until the day she died. She loved seeing her dreams come to life. She loved knowing her work brought people joy. Yes. So she planned this out. She picked the team that's going to do it, and she's been building it up for years. So
that, plus there's a Broadway show, I think, coming up early next year, an animated thing.
Her museum, the Songteller Hotel, and the Life of Many Colors Museum.
What I understand, and I don't know all the details, but what I understand is that not only was she super hands-on with everything that was happening around her, but it seemed like she spent the last however many years mapping out how that storytelling would live on. So I actually think, if that's true, that a lot of this was by design, which for some reason gives me chills to just think about somebody really wanting to make sure that things are handled in a certain way. Like, I love that. Oh
Right.
yeah, Kenny and Dolly. That's a good one.
Exactly. I mean, you're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
think you nailed that. Secret
Beautiful.
dream box. I want a secret dream box. I love her quote about costs a lot of money to look this trashy.
You have a sense of humor about yourself, right? Like
And
that is one
another
of
one,
the greatest
she said,
things.
no one ever talks about my ass. Good for you. I mean, man, I can't imagine in the 60s and the 70s the shit she went through, as beautiful as she was and as
Yeah.
fantastic as she looks and is built, you know? I mean, dudes are pigs now. Dudes were really pigs 50, 60 years ago. I've watched Mad
Well,
Men.
yeah, it had to have been exceptionally difficult. Country music, then, it's a good old boys club,
It's
right?
still a good old boys
Underestimating
club, I
is
think.
missing. It sure is
Right?
to a large extent, for sure. But yeah, I have read about that. When she first got to Nashville,
Right.
um, it was definitely that dumb blonde, but she's so leaned into it. See, that's where
They
like
never saw her coming.
the genius is. She so did it intentionally to stand out,
Yeah.
even though it was totally used against her. Like I could go on and on from this, but she really mastered that business
Right.
in
And then
such a big
Whitney
way.
Houston just made her financially set forever,
No kidding,
covering her
right?
song. Oh man! So apparently, what I'm hearing is Mr. Green with the candlestick in the den is what happened to Tim Curry, not what other people are reporting.
Oh man, still one of my favorite movies.
Oh my god, so good! And I was like, this is going to be
Still.
the dumbest thing ever before it came out. How can you make Clue into a movie?
Oh,
You
but
know?
they did it. I remember watching that. I watched it so many times back in the day. Yeah,
It was
that guy.
fantastic.
I know. And really just, I mean, here we're talking about another person that was just so independently their own person, right? That
Right.
guy was just such a master of character acting. I
Right.
loved it.
Dr. Frankenfurter.
Oh, God.
I mean, when I first saw that, I was what, like 16, went to the midnight thing. They're like, bring
Yeah.
toast with you,
Yeah.
and just watching the whole spectacle. I didn't know. I mean, I was aware that subcultures like that existed, but just watching it, I was like, God, these people are so fun. Why
Yeah.
the fuck?
I would also say even if you wouldn't consider yourself like the biggest Tim Curry expert, his memoir, which just came out a year or two ago, Vagabond, is so good. It's very funny. There's a lot of surprises in there. He gets into some really great, really, really good stories, and also talks very openly about co-stars and colleagues, right?
Right.
Very, very honestly. So like, it's an awesome read if you're ever looking for something. I like autobiographies like that.
Right.
And his was pretty good.
Right. And the Annie movie, not one I
Oh,
put
yeah.
on anymore. Classic. He was Rooster Hannigan.
That's
He was
another
the
one.
bad guy. You know?
Oh my God.
He was Pennywise.
Oh yeah.
In the television miniseries of It, he was in Home Alone 2. He was
Home
the
Alone 2.
concierge,
And a ton of animated stuff because he had such a great voice, right?
Captain Hook and Peter
Yep.
Pan.
And albums. I actually
albums.
don't know too much about them, but I know in the 70s, early 80s ish era, he put out a couple of studio albums.
They had to be around. Read My Lips, Fearless and Simplicity. They had to be around when Rocky Horror was. And I did not know this. He had a stroke in 2012 that left half his body paralyzed. So for the past 14 years, he's been going down that road.
Yeah,
God bless both of them.
100%.
Are you have you heard about this Daisy Chain Fields Festival that is going to be, I guess, at the end of this month?
A little bit. So this is a one-day thing.
Yep.
Olivia Rodrigo's thing, right?
Yeah.
In California. Yeah, I've read a little bit about it. And what I understand is that it's a little bit of a kind of modern take on Lilith Fair.
Yep, that's what I'm
right?
getting. Chappelle Roan, Doechii, Mitski, The Breeders, Bikini Kill, and Garbage.
Yeah.
And then special guest Karen O, Sarah McLachlan, and Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks. I
mean,
know.
you look at the poster and you're like, yeah, that's AI slop. Next.
For one day. I mean, that's the cool thing too, right? It's like what a day that's going to be a big, big day. And I love stuff like that more and more, because it's kind of like, if you are able to get there, you're in the area, you go for one day, you see everything, you know, you're going to get it all, you know?
You get them red balloons, Michael.
I know. Let's see it.
It's funny. There's a little backstory. Shirley Manson didn't refuse, but Garbage didn't want to be on the Lilith Fair. They didn't feel like they fit in with the general vibe of it. But when she was asked about this, she was like, yeah, I'm in. Rodrigo called every one of these women herself and said, please come do this for me. And one of them was like, shouldn't we be going through agents? No, just come do this. Let's make this happen, which is great because we need to cut out the middleman.
100%. Yeah, I would think this took a little bit of time to do, kind of on that grassroots level. But, you know, Kev, you and I have seen that too in our own way, right? When you get to the person on that level that you are, and you're doing that for the right reasons, which I do think that's for sure what this is. I mean, it's also kind of validating the things that I know for like teen fans and young women, right? This sounds like it's going to be important at that level, musical taste, like the fandom, the power of that.
It is. That's what Shirley Manson said, that she's seen women's rights go backwards since Lilith Fair.
Yep.
100% of the net proceeds, which is no profit for them, goes to Planned Parenthood and Center for Reproductive Rights.
Yep.
And, you know.
Yep. I love it. I mean, there's also going to be, this is the part that I like because it's kind of holistic. The other thing I read about that I'll just mention quickly is that they are partnering with maybe Etsy or other kind of platforms like that to curate this market run by female-owned small businesses, independent folks. So trying to make the entire day or around that music also very supportive. That stuff means a lot to me, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So Johnny Marr says Noel Gallagher's writing songs. There's your Oasis minute.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. That's all. That's all. The article. It's the headline. The whole article is the headline. Burning Man tickets are suddenly cheap. Everybody's broke right now. 40th year. All the scalpers can't give them away.
Oh wow.
Sorry.
You know, I have seen talk of lower prices, and that's kind of all relative, right? So I've never been. I know so many people I know have been and go, you know, every year. I feel like they've got they're getting ready to open, right? Because we are at that time. But what's happening around there? I think that the organizers have been telling people, like, don't book hotel rooms locally. Basically, keep the resources there for the firefighters and evacuees, because I know there's some stuff going on, the Reno wildfire and all of that. It just seems like weather has been against them, right, the last couple of years.
Yes, the weather has been against them.
But they still make it happen.
I did not. I mean, you know what? At this point, I've lost enough weight and I'm feeling good about myself. I'd probably walk around naked for 2 days if it wasn't 190 fucking degrees in the middle of the desert.
You better be prepared.
God, I can't imagine just going there. So
just wrap yourself in saran wrap.
Right.
Like 10 layers of it, you'll be totally fine.
Exactly. All right, we got a lot of AI stuff. But before we get into that, go buy some merch. We got a lot of cool shirts over there. Think about becoming a member. If you're watching this later, leave a comment, like, subscribe. To everybody in the chat, I think mostly we have Mr. Bungle is overruling volume. How you doing? And everybody in the chat here, thank you. Tim and I will be Tim. Tim Curry. T and I will be back Monday. Next week, I'm not sure what's going on. Amanda's at Dick's and T's out there in Colorado. So
We're gonna have to report from the scene.
yes, we'll have to
Do something.
But so let's talk a little bit. My question today is, are jam bands the best countermodel to the streaming era AI devaluation of music?
That is a very good question. I mean, I say yes, absolutely.
Right. They center it's a live, unrepeatable experience. It only exists in that second, that version of it, with there's mistakes or stuff like that.
Right. The product is the experience, not the download. I mean, that's all a part of it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a niche scene. Millennials, Gen Xers, Gen Z goes more towards the EMD, but even that in a live setting, something like Electric Forest with all the issues that they had.
Yeah.
Those DJs are probably making more money than bands are doing something like that, because it's just the DJ walking out there. He gets all 1/5, all 5/1.
Right. And you know what? So, I mean, there's so much to say about this, and I'm so curious what everybody else, thinks. Mm-hmm. So I think that jam bands, first of all, AI cannot fake shared human moments, including imperfections, including a ripcord, right? Whatever it is, like, it's just, that is never, ever going to happen. And our scene, our bands lean into that risk, right? Because that's essentially what it is. I mean, as amazing as anyone can be at whatever they're playing, you're putting yourself out there in a way that is risky,
right? Just
inherently. And like, I always come back to that in my mind. And I think, inventing kind of this super fan kind of economy thing in a way that is way more egalitarian than pop music does. That is so on their stage, right? Your Taylor Swifts, like there's not a lot of room there. Mm-hmm. Oh, Doug, yeah, we will make it happen.
I don't think they ever will. You got to be AC/DC from Australia to make it on the hard rock stations, I think there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my nightmare scenario, Doug, is AI writes the music and they pay musicians scale to go out and play it. So Live Nation did a sample of 40,000 adults across 15 countries. Live Nation, of course. Live Nation emerged as the top entertainment choice, while an overwhelming 93% said they crave real experiences over digital ones. So people want that. I think that's it. There was... it's going to take me a minute to think about what this woman's name was. And there's so much resistance to AI, whether it be to data centers, maybe people aren't necessarily against it, but blind tests, 9,000 people in 8 countries, 97% couldn't reliably tell AI generated from human-made songs. But 80% wanted clear labeling of AI. And 40% say they would skip a track if they knew it was purely AI.
Okay.
I don't know where I come across AI music. I mean, everything I listen to is on YouTube, and YouTube knows what I like. If I put on TLC, it knows I want to hear Eve or Lauryn Hill next. If I put on, Lettuce, it knows I want to, hear
I was going to say, algorithms are one thing, right? But yeah, the kind of what you're talking about is different. But wait, Kev, there was one headline from that survey or that poll, whatever they did. So when given a choice, 70% of those respondents in that Live Nation poll said they would rather see their favorite artist live than have sex.
Wow.
that to me, I was like, wait, why is this not like the big headline?
Nothing like that drop and tube back into the song, huh?
No, you know what you're gonna get? It's gonna be awesome.
Better than sex. Oh man! But there was I forget who the woman's name was. There was somebody who did a show recently, and a bunch of mistakes. It was live. the newspapers in England all gave it 5 stars and said it was human, and that it was because of the moments of her making mistakes and things like that is what made it so special. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think that, it will save it. Now, another thing is, I saw that this is interesting. I didn't pull this one to you beforehand. Let me see if I can find it. Hollywood Bowl, right? Put in a new sound system. And apparently it's much louder for all 17,000 people. Fully immersive 360-degree sound system built around a new L series speaker from L Acoustics. Said louder in the whole 17,000 thing. The interesting part is, though, there's a piece of machine learning software called Source Intelligence. This was originally used by DJs to separate stems. It's how that whole thing started. They've taken it to putting it into a microphone, right? Isolating the vocalist's voice from everything bleeding in, and they're getting about 40 decibels of rejection of unwanted stage noise.
Right, that bleed that happens.
Yeah. So is this a use for AI? This is AI being used in a live setting with live music. So now we're blurring everything.
Right. I mean, it's not creating. What it's doing is enhancing or supporting.
And it's I guess avoiding it isn't altering the voice. It's cleaning up the background noise, kind of like what we have on our mics here that we set.
Right. So it's like an algorithm thing. It's software driven ultimately. I think, right? This AI piece. Yeah. So it almost reminds me, I'm going to give a plug here to our friend Drew Becker, the sound guy for the infamous String Dusters, who several years ago created and patented this awesome tool called the Lily Pad, which
Trey uses.
Yeah, I mean, the list is unreal if you go check out that the website.
We have a great interview with him over on the All That Jam page.
And just a really, really nice guy for sure. But yeah, that's like a musician controlled hardware solution, right? To kind of make that noise gated thing easier for people to control.
What this does, if people don't know, is you step on it. When you step up to the mic, your mic comes on. When you step back from the mic, it shuts the mic off. Basically, it's a little more complicated than that, but I think that's the overall thing.
So, I think, so this, what you're talking about at the Bowl actually kind of in a roundabout way comes back to Dr. Dre's, for example, latest comments about how AI can be a tool to support music creation.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the only tool there is Dr. Dre.
It's an interesting thing, right? I mean, he's obviously speaking from a place where he's not threatened by anything. But Dr. Dre also, to his credit, was always known, even back in the early days, for being meticulous about crediting his samples.
Yes.
He was not somebody that ignored that. So it's an interesting thing, right? Like,
well, hold on, let me find this comment, because I posted I went on Blue Sky because he was frustrating me this much. He said that people who see AI as a threat are those who have trouble creating. Sorry, I have to read around the camera. Who have trouble creating. And doesn't that seem like the antithesis? I mean, the guy's been smoking the chronic too long. If you're creating, you're creating. If you're using AI, you're not creating. You're asking a computer to create for you.
I think what he's trying. So I actually have read this multiple times. First of all, I think what he said was it was not empathetic at all to the people who are truly threatened, rightly so, by whatever AI is going to bring. So number one, he is speaking from a perspective of a legacy icon,
right,
who has made billions of dollars, right? He had a historical comparison, though, about drum machines.
Right.
Right.
Apples and oranges.
I don't know. I don't think it's completely apples and oranges. They didn't replace human creativity. That was one of the things at the time that a lot of people were up in arms about, right? I mean, different technology.
But you had to have the talent and understand rhythms. You give me a drum machine, I can't put a beat in there. There was
But people
some level
didn't
of
know that then at the beginning, right? Like that wasn't something that, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I can see a space where different types of AI could be useful as a tool
right.
for product. Like that I absolutely do see. I'm not talking about creating wholesale. I think there's a much bigger range and a spectrum there, right, of how to use it. I think the way he talked about it, stripping away some very harsh phrasing, honestly, I think the core of that argument about how technology intersects with art is an interesting one. He did have a lot of blind spots about the economic realities of all of this. But then I'm like, is it Dr. Dre? Like, I don't know. And that's where I think that, like, we're having this conversation. I love these conversations because there is not necessarily one perfect place to be on all of this.
Right.
And it is very, very, like Sarah Silverman, she's someone who would absolutely hate everything Dr. Dre is saying, but is her specific field more at risk? Right? Like I don't know. And people are going to have different thoughts.
Well, people who write AI generated comedy jokes, AI generated jokes, they're going to be flat language, and it's going to dumb down the populace to expect dumb stuff instead of innovative stuff.
Right. Well, and I guess what's the real commodity? Is it musical taste? Is it execution? I don't know. And to me, these philosophical debates are one of my favorite things. Right. I just love to know what people think about it.
Right. Bungle says he watched over on Volume Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die last night. Which
I've seen that. I've seen that is a wild, wacky movie. Yes. Good call. I just watched it maybe a month ago.
I'm going to have to check that out. And he also mentioned synthesizers. You have to be able to play a keyboard to use a synthesizer. You have to be able to sequence stuff in a sequencer. AI, the only thing you have to be good at with a large language model or generative AI is writing a prompt.
True. In some cases, I mean, I think it's knowing at the time what they knew about things, right? The narrative on electronic tools in general back in the day was that you had no talent, you were cheating. Like that was pretty relentless. The push button musician label, right? Like a Roland, like the TR 808. I have some really awesome playlists of like the Lynn machine, just songs that just used that, right? There was like union backlash to that. It was soulless. My very favorite, Giorgio Moroder, who Daft Punk did that song about, but he had been around. He was like disco guy. He really had to deal with a lot of backlash that his stuff was going to be cold, mechanical, robotic disco, right? All these things. So the tool may be a little bit different, but there's always been a huge backlash, right? Like, and then you have people like Brian Eno who heard some of this stuff and was like, that's the sound of the future. This is it. It's going to change music forever. So I think it's like things might settle into a place with AI eventually. Right now, it is still, it's like the land grab at a festival. Everybody's running to put their tart down.
Right. So I get we're going to wrap this up sooner than later because Amanda's got something else to get to. But we're going to have to continue this conversation because I have another 12 pages of notes. But I guess ultimately what I'm going to go with is that, you know, even our attitudes may shift or soften our biases against AI generated art. But I just feel like theater, live music, dance have survived every reproduction technology precisely because what matters most cannot be reproduced, the event. The people sitting together in a room playing guitar with each other and singing songs. So I think even if audiences grow more relaxed of what counts as authentic, there's going to be a fundamental difference between AI, synthetic media, and a living performer taking the risk of going out there without a net and playing the song. Yeah. And I think that's why jam bands, that's what they do every night. There are no nets.
Yeah. And, you know, it's taken a long time, but social media, there's a little bit of a reckoning starting to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, We're
And,
not,
a lot of people are, it's data centers. They're not necessarily mad at AI. They're mad at data centers. They're mad at water use. They're mad at having something in their backyard that they never asked,
Yeah. And I'm certainly not saying all of these technologies are the same, but the feeling about them, right?
Right.
And I don't think there's a huge future where that creative part is completely taken away
Right.
from
Yeah,
us.
Zappa did. Zappa was trying to take guitar solos off of stuff. Yes, exactly, JJ. And I think it's people who are invested. I bet you Dr. Dre has some money in AI stuff.
Right. Well, he's not saying it's the future either. I think it's also very easy for somebody to make one thing, say, yeah, there is a use for it. And then for everybody else to say, look at this guy, that's all he wants, right? So I think we need to also kind of try to realize there's a big range. And just because someone is saying there might be a use for it doesn't mean they're saying that's all it's going to be, But it will, I think, eventually find its path. And this huge wave will, at some point, probably come back. It's a pendulum with a lot of things, especially new shit, right?
I hope there is a pendulum, because the pendulum now in some places is so far to one side, I can't even see it anymore. I'm going to do one more thing, and then we'll get out of here. D'Adrio. Half the guitars in the world have D'Adrio strings, probably, right? They did this promo video for their NYXL HD extended range strings, and people immediately were like, sounds like AI, So on social media, they denied it. They started deleting AI related comments, blocking accounts. So you've done something wrong when you're doing that. Apparently then they came out and said that it wasn't AI. It was all guitar tracks live with drums and synths MIDI programmed. And they put out a proof video on YouTube, except everybody listened to it, said that isn't the same song. So eventually they had to come clean in an Instagram statement saying, we got this wrong. We shared inaccurate information and we're truly sorry. I don't think people are going to stop buying their strings, but the idiocy of, if you use AI, be proud of it. Say, yeah, we used AI. Right? Or why do you have to hide it is my thing.
Well, I can kind of understand why they feel like they have to.
Well, you get caught though, you admit it. You don't start blocking people and say that's not I don't know.
I don't agree with it, but I can understand why a company would not want to lead with that, and I think it sucks completely.
So why would they not just pay some guitar players? They sell half the guitar strings in the world. Throw somebody a couple thousand to do a song for you.
I know they could probably handle that, right?
I love that. It's or like maybe a less noble source. Joe Strummer said, "You have the right to free speech as long as you don't actually try to use it."
Yeah, don't say too much.
Yeah, well, my God, we need so much with AA.
That is 100% true.
The problem with AI is we did not do the regulation first, and you add the regulation later, you're screwed.
And that was definitely a known thing. I mean, this is not a surprise to the people that could have been doing that, but that is where we are.
All right, we're wrapping this up. We love you all. Thanks so much. Bungle, I know you're over on volume. Love you, man. We're definitely going to do Tedeschi Trucks again next year. Everybody over here on YouTube, thank you so much. If you haven't, hit the like for me, please. If you haven't subscribed. Apparently 45% of the people who watch us haven't subscribed. And think about becoming a member, buy some shirts, that kind of thing. All right, we're out of here.
Thank you for the great chat. I love it and I appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.